Lando Norris withstood pressure from teammate Oscar Piastri to claim a crucial win over his title rival in the Austrian Grand Prix and get his World Championship bid back on track in a race where reigning champion Max Verstappen retired on the first lap after being hit by Mercedes Kimi Antonelli. The McLaren drivers dominated for victory around the Red Bull Ring, with Norris eventually prevailing to cut Piastri's lead over him to 15 points heading into his home British Grand Prix. A fortnight after hitting the back of his teammate in Canada, pole sitter Norris capped off a crucial bounce-back weekend in the Syrian hills by fighting off teammate challenge in the first stint as McLaren went wheel-to-wheel and then keeping his cool to stay ahead as Piastri came back at him in the closing laps. But Verstappen's now 61 points off the pace, approaching the season's halfway mark, and his race on Red Bull's home track lasted a mere 3 corners. The Red Bull driver's car was hit after a mistake from Antonelli was into the braking zone when in combat, when his cars saw the Mercedes slam into the side of the Dutchman. Although never in contention for the win after being passed for second by Piastri at the start, Leclerc caps an impressive race for Ferrari, taking his 4th podium of the year in 3rd. He was 9 seconds ahead of teammate Lewis Hamilton, whose wait for his first podium for Ferrari goes on to his home race. The sweltering track temperatures in Austria exposed Montreal victors Mercedes' Achilles heel as George Russell came home 33 seconds behind 4th place Hamilton in a lonely 5th, a full minute behind the race winner. And on one-slot strategies, Liam Lawson took a career best 6th for Racing Bulls as Fernando Alonso just held off Gabriel Bortoleto, of course his protege, in a late fight for 7th. Bortoleto, though, could still be content with maiden points. Nico Hulkenberg made it a double Sauber celebration, coming all the way from last to ninth, while Esteban Ocon got the final points in 10th. But yeah, what a difference a fortnight makes for Norris. After holding his hands up and hitting back of Piastri's car in that botched overtaking Montreal, an error which saw the Briton record his first DNF of the season and shed potentially crucial points, Norris finished as the lead McLaren at the sessions he was in the Red Bull Ring, but he certainly was made to work for it by Piastri. The McLarens quickly found themselves in formation coming out of the first corner as pole sitter Norris went right off the line to cover off fellow front row starter Leclerc. Piastri swept around the outside of the McLaren to take second place. It was lap 11 when the title leader made his first true bid for the race lead after small errors from Norris through the final few corners of the lap that caused him to lose momentum from the start of the next lap. Piastri was in DRS and was just behind his teammate going up the hill. However, once the Australian locked his front brake and ran slightly wide, allowing his teammate to draft back past him into turn 4, their battle continued all the way to the next turn. Piastri thought better and moved down the inside, and so Norris stayed in front. 9 laps later, Piastri came back at Norris, although this time came perilously close to a carbon copy of Montreal. On the run to turn 4, he briefly went for a gap, but locked up and came within inches of careering into the sister car. Disaster just about averted. Norris was then pitted. Piastri ran slightly longer, ultimately pitting 4 laps later. The offset meant the two cars were not as close, but Piastri came back at Norris in the second half of the race, but it was nearly shoved into the grass by Colapinto. Following his own battle with Yuki Tsunoda as he exited turn 3, he pushed the McLaren driver onto the grass, which earned him a 5-second penalty. As they continued to navigate through traffic, they got it down to 2 seconds, but in the end Norris just about had enough to hold on. He said it was a great battle, lots of fun, bit of stress, but well done to Oscar. And yeah, after seeing a turn 4 near miss, Piastri was told it was too tight. He said he tried his absolute best, pushed the limits, but yeah, in the end not quite enough. But after an untimely yellow flag at the end of qualifying left him only 7th on the grid, Verstappen had been expected to fight with the Ferraris for the podium, but the unwitting intervention of Antonelli, the teenage Italian, seemingly caught out as the panic snaked into turn 3, locking his rear brakes. That meant the full-time world champion never got that far. Stewart later handed Antonelli a 3-place grid penalty for the British Grand Prix, causing the collision with the Red Bull. Of course, I saw the footage, and once I came back, it happens. Everyone's made a mistake like that in their career, said Verstappen. And yeah, with the standard bearer slightly race kind of ended early, the spotlight was on Yuki Tsunoda, and it kind of showed how damning that second Red Bull is with the pace of that car. 2 laps down and having collisions with Stroll and Colapinto, and yeah, Red Bull's first race I think in a while where they haven't got any points. Williams endured a similarly dismal day with Sainz aborting the start and then picking up a fire in the pit lane, and Lance Albon was running 7th in the early laps, only to be forced to retire with a technical issue. And before I go, let me run you through the classification for the Austrian Grand Prix. Norris came out on top. A big win for Norris, and credit to him. He really had to withstand the pressure there and did a great job. Piastri second, I think he'll be very pleased with that as well. He didn't lose many points. Of course, he'll be frustrated not to miss out on the win, but I think still maximised his points. Leclerc third, yeah, maximised his race. Still a bit of a gap, but I think an improvement from Ferrari, as we saw with Hamilton too. And then Russell in 5th. I think, Mercedes will be really disappointed with that performance. They just can't get it right in hot conditions, but still maximise the result. Lawson, incredible drive from him to keep Alonso behind as well, and hopefully a much needed confidence boost for him. Alonso in 7th, great job from him. That was a masterclass at the end to defend from Bortoletti, who I think will be slightly frustrated but also pleased to get his first points. And Hulkenberg coming from last, what a drive from him. And then Ocon running out the points with another solid drive. Bierman I think will be frustrated to just miss out, but he is right with his teammate at least. Hadjar in 12th, just didn't really have the pace of Lawson this weekend, and he'll be looking to correct that at Silverstone, but disappointing weekend for him, you'd have to say. And Gasly in 13th, that Alpine's just really struggles in the race. We saw Colapinto as well with a clumsy accident as well. Stroll in 14th, away off his teammate, and Tsunoda, we touched on it, a disastrous weekend for him and for Williams as well. And then Antonelli and Verstappen, a rookie error, and if there was any faint hopes of Max winning the title, then you'd have to say, looking at McLaren's pace today, that's probably evaporated now for Red Bull.
Anyway guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share and subscribe. Follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily F1 news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.